Is it in the keys? The fingertips that reach out to touch them? The string that begs to be bent? Or is it in the notes on a page? A foot to a pedal? The infinite space between imagination and skill? Or is it simply music?
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to the 13th Note Podcast, Art of Mastery. Today, we have a very unique episode podcast for you. I actually went on location to visit CEO Adam Weisner of Kingdom Mindset Strategy. And he's going to tell us his unique story. And I think you're going to find this extremely, ultimately very interesting on just the journey this gentleman has. So going through, we're asking him on strategies, ideas, and thoughts, of course, everything that goes with it. So please enjoy, sit back, relax, and check it out. We'll see you then. We are going.
We're on.
Well, thank you, Adam, for having me here. This is definitely an honor and a privilege to talk with you. And since we're in your house, I'm going to put on my Kingdom Mindset hat.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now you're officially part of the crew.
Excellent. Excellent. So, I've been following your work for quite a while. And I'm just really not only impressed, I just love the way you built your system. So, as you well know, in the Art of Mastery, the podcast, we talk about how did you evolved and you end up in this position here in the current day. So let's start back back when you were a kid between the K through 12 years. What kind of kid were you?
What kind of kid was I? Wow. I would say, I'm not going to give you the full K through 12.
Okay.
I'm going to break it up a little bit because there's different kids in there.
Oh.
So I would say K to 6. I was an energetic kid, a focused kid, got good grades, didn't really have to try, but got a lot of notes on my report cards, like, he's not working up to his potential.
Really?
Yeah. I like to have fun. I like to laugh, like play sports.
Yep.
Played a lot of sports growing up, had a ton of, a diverse group of friends at school. Just kind of lived I would say a somewhat normal life. I mean, if you were to put the lens of looking back on it, I didn't necessarily realize that I was, had less than kids around me per se, but, I was the kid with free lunch tickets.
Okay.
And, shopped at Payless for shoes. Never owned a name brand shoe in my life. So, and I would, my mom was a single mom raising young kids and was always working. And so from a young age, the earliest time I can remember in first grade, we were going to offices and churches cleaning for the cleaning business after school.
Wow. And
our reward was to sit on the top of the blue station wagon hood and ride across the parking lot to throw the trashes out. That was our reward.
Wow.
We didn't get paid.
Yeah.
But those are really fond memories for me.
So it was fun for you?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did ever feel like, oh, gee, why am I in this position?
No, I don't think I ever really thought anything of it. I just thought, well, this is, as a kid, I don't know that you process, at least for me, I didn't process that much. It was just, this is life. And so we're just doing it. So that was, I would say, kind of the K through 6 experience. And then once I got into junior high, I became a little bit more rebellious. And then going into high school became extremely rebellious and had a 0.66 GPA going into my junior year, and was able to pull off an F- in one of my classes, which my kids still give me a hard time about, but I'm very proud of that F-. So.
Yeah, you have to work hard to get that.
You got to work real hard to get an F-. They're like, Dad, how's that even a thing? Is that even possible? So, yeah, I think I went through the story arc of, kid on honor roll, testing into the gifted and talented, things in school to, the kid who couldn't pass the class and didn't want to get through things. And then I eventually actually read a great book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Yes.
And that actually really shifted my mentality in a lot of ways from a school perspective.
Sure.
And that was, what I used to graduate.
So your aptitude was there. You knew you could do it, right? And yet somehow that rebellious of self around that going into junior high school kind of shifted you. I don't need this.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever really enjoyed it. It felt, school felt really easy for me, and hard at the same time.
Okay.
Easy in the execution of solving problems, but difficult in the discipline of showing up and doing the routine work to get the results that you needed to. So I basically only did that in the high school years at the point that I actually needed to graduate. And so I was able to graduate by, taking a bunch of classes. And I think I was taking English 9 and 10 my junior year. So I played hockey growing up, roller hockey, high school hockey. I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
I really did. Rode my bike everywhere. And,
And this is where you grew up
Southern California.
Okay.
Yep. Still the time, even in, my time, it was still a time of play until the street lights come on. But because mom worked late, I didn't even have to come when the street lights came on. I just come home whenever.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, my childhood was really
So
awesome.
being raised by a single parent, you kind of had your own thing going on. You didn't have you got to be doing this, you got to be here at this time.
No, there wasn't a ton of oversight.
Yeah.
There wasn't a ton of oversight.
Well, that's got to help contribute to where you become today as a CEO and building things and coaching and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, and then you talk about involving sports. I mean, were you really intricate into sports? Was that something that you felt passionately about as a kid?
Yeah, I loved sports. I loved competitive sports.
Yeah.
I loved playing any competitive sport that I could. I definitely had a drive to. It felt like big problem solving, but then it was fun. I was always extremely curious as a kid. I took a lot of things apart. My favorite book was a book called The Way Things Work, and it was just how everything works, how plumbing worked, and how I was fascinated by that book. So, I was in a spot where I was trying to solve big problems even as a young kid, but I also kind of had an idea where I wanted to be. One of the stories my mom loves to tell is I went to the office with her where she was working at AT&T, and I looked around, I saw all these desks, and I said, hey, whose desks are all these? She said, they're the boss's. And I just paused and reflected and said, I want to be the boss. So, for whatever reason, I knew, even at a young age, for whatever the motivation was, that where I wanted to go.
So how old were you when you had that moment?
I couldn't have been more than 9 or 10.
Okay. So at that point, you just saw that and you just went, hey, I like this. I'm going to run this.
Yeah. And I think for my mom, she told me when I was 8 that I was the man of the house.
Okay.
So, I felt a level of responsibility from a very early age. And even though I was the youngest of the siblings, I was sort of the oldest.
Wow. How many siblings did you have?
Two older siblings, but my oldest sister is 11 years older than me, and so she was kind of out of the house by the time I was,
so there's a distance
7, 8, And then my second sister is only a couple years older than me.
Okay.
But I was usually more of the responsible one of the two of us.
Yeah. So being at 8 and having to get that responsibility, you took it pretty serious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how serious I took it, but I for sure remember the conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think it definitely set something inside of me. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why the work ethic for me was never a question. Going and cleaning the churches, doing the things, it felt normal to me. And that was also because of my worldview and experience with my mom, right? Like she was working all the time, 2-3 jobs. So that just felt like, well, isn't that just the way it is?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see the hard work and you say, well, that's what's required. And we get this because of it.
Yeah. Or, I didn't even think, maybe I didn't connect the dots of we get this. I kind of did, right? She was able to buy a house and put us in sports, but it was more that just seemed like I didn't know anything different.
Sure. I understand that.
So it was like, well, this is what work looks like.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, wow, I can't believe I have to work so hard. It just wasn't that was not a question for me.
Yeah. And you took that into sports, I assume, right? The level.
I wish I did. I think part of it I did, but part of it was just riding natural talent. It was similar to school in a lot of senses where I didn't have to put in the same amount of work to get the results. And so I didn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was able to, stand out without having to put in the work, which is like a bad recipe for a kid like me.
So you were pretty good at what you did.
I was all right.
In hockey.
I was all right. Yeah.
You were all right.
Yep.
Are you being modest here?
But yeah, I mean, there's lots of people who are really, really, really good. I enjoyed playing hockey, and I was able to, play well and give it my all,
Yeah. And that's an intense sports. Hockey is not for faint of heart.
Yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of it. That was fun. I was definitely always somewhat of an intense kid.
Okay. So having that in your formative years, I'm sure that carries you cornerstoning the way that you become saying, hard work, I'm not afraid of that, right? And you carry that all the way through school. You graduate. Did you go to college after that?
Went to junior college for a semester. Withdrew and then did it again and withdrew again from a different junior college. But went straight into the workforce.
Okay.
I was working, pretty immediately, and then once I realized I could make money working, and more money than somebody who was going to school, it felt like pressing, right? Like I can't wait 4 years to make money. I can make money right now.
Sure.
So that's what I did.
I think a lot of kids think that, it's like, why am I spending 4 years here kind of listen to this guy telling me things when I already think, well, I can control my destination and my earning potential, right? So was being a kid that, like you said, growing up, being a single parent, having worked multiple jobs and all that, so having the opportunity to say, hey, I can make my own, I'm sure that fueled the fire quite a bit.
That was like, again, one of the best and worst things to happen, because again, it was a confirmation that I didn't need to put in the discipline there. I needed to put it in here. And so the payoff was more clear.
Sure,
right?
You get the check.
Yeah, I had money to buy a flip phone. where you go to school and what do you get?
Yes.
A good report card that no one looks at.
Right.
What's that doing for me? It's doing nothing for me.
Right.
So obviously there was a disconnect there in that school isn't about the subject. It's not about remembering all the subjects. It's about learning and applying discipline toward completion of something.
Yeah.
And so I think I didn't connect those dots. Those dots weren't connected for me. The dots were much more easily connected that if I sold a cell phone with 2 extra phone lines today, I could make $100 or whatever it was at the time.
Is that what you did? You were selling cell phones?
Selling cell phones.
Really?
Yeah, I was selling cell phones for a while. Yeah, in a single person kiosk inside of a Walmart.
So you were that guy.
I was that guy.
No
I was
kidding.
that guy, and I was throwing dummy phones in people's carts when they would drive by with their Walmart cart just to get them to come back and talk to me.
You did that?
Yeah, that's how I got them to talk to me.
Oh.
So, for sure sold a few phones just like that. It's because it's a funny...
That's pretty innovative.
Funny opening, right? It's a funny opening.
No question.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you go into a store in a kiosk, you see that. Can I help you? Hey, do you want to see this? No, thank you. We move on.
I don't think... Oh, there it goes. Okay. I'm just making sure that we're recording. It was blurry, so hopefully it's not too bad for you.
It was giving you the anonymous. We're not quite sure who Adam is yet, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Like the not suitable for work blur. But yeah, no, I think it was. I was innovating because I knew what the payoff was.
Yeah.
And it was my first corporate job.
Oh, no
first
kidding.
Job for the man.
Okay. And that's, that's very unique that you would think so far of, okay, since I'm here and I'm making whatever I'm going to make with the opportunities that's given me, it's no different than, let's say, okay, 200 years ago, you're going to go out there, this is the pig you slaughtered, and you only got this amount of meat, and nobody's coming to my booth.
Yep.
What am I going to do?
Yep.
Am I going to take this pig home and eat it by myself? Or am I going to do something come to me? So that's very innovative in the sense of just creating on the fly.
I think it was easy to be innovative because I knew what my destination was. I knew what the payoff could be.
Yeah.
So I just worked my way through there and then became a lead salesperson, then got into a store and then became an assistant manager. And I did that for 4 years.
No kidding. So you were in cellular telecom company.
Yep.
What was it? AT&T?
Yep. AT&T Wireless, which actually was then Singular, but then it went through. So I went through a couple of different mergers there.
Right. And as it merged, did it cause you problems in regards to, or was it a seamless thing?
It wasn't seamless, but it was, I was at a level where the ask was still the same.
Okay.
Sell more phones, get more plans. Yeah.
Yeah. And at what point did you went, okay, enough of this. It's time for me to move on?
I probably wouldn't have. I had it pretty good. I thought, hey, I'm going to be a store manager. And then I started considering, different jobs. I was going to work for Samsung as like a regional sales rep. And then there was a guy who had worked for me who went to work at a loan company selling second mortgages. And he told me how much money he made. And I was like, there's no way this dude made that much money. He was a terrible salesperson.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And I said, well, if you can like send me a couple of your commission checks. I want to see.
Right.
I want proof that you actually are making this money. And he faxed me over a couple of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do that.
So what were we talking about? 2-3 times difference? What you were making?
I was making, 50, 60 grand a year right off the bat at AT&T. And then by the time I was a manager, I was making like 70, 75 grand.
Not bad.
This is at like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
It was 25 years ago. And then the guy who had gone over, he showed me a couple of checks where he'd made like 10 grand.
Wow.
And I was like, if he can make 10 grand,
right,
I could at least make 10 grand.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you're seeing the skill difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So tell me a little bit about this shift. I mean, now all of a sudden, going into doing something in the home business, you're no longer looking at people. You're no longer dealing the customer service level. How did that shift work for you?
It was a really interesting one. I learned a lot there. In the cell phone world, you had to have this hustle. And so that hustle translated over in the sense that I was brought in, had to learn the whole loan business. And then my job was to make 120 calls a day to people who filled out pop-ups on lowermybills.com.
Oh,
so name and phone number. I'm interested. And then you just smile and dial all day long.
Yeah.
And if I made 120 calls, I could get 12 people to pick up.
Yeah.
And hopefully get one of those to lock in a loan with me. And at this time, it was still, which is crazy. Like, my name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. It would be my honor to come alongside you and help you to do the same thing. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.
So we were talking about when you first now shift into the lending business.
Yep.
Which is, a huge difference with customer service in a retail environment. then you're doing this massive call thing. And I've been there in the call room type of environment myself, and it drove me nuts. How do you mentally even handle that?
You know, I was the kind of kid who could work a problem for 15 hours without sleeping or blinking. So my level of like deep concentration effort came naturally. Yeah. So if I needed to just do something on repeat, I could do it. Yeah. So that part wasn't hard. Yeah. But you know, it was complex in that because it was the year that it was, you know, I had to get people to go drive to a FedEx location, find a copy of their the first and last page of their mortgage note, their homeowner's insurance declaration page. Then they had to print out a borrower's authorization and sign it, then give me their credit card information. Then they had to go and fax that borrower's authorization and everything over to me before I could run credit and lock their loan in. So, you know, I hear today and I'm like, you do this all over the phone? Like, you know, so what I learned was I just learned a lot about, I would say, tenacity and grit, but I also learned what I didn't like in that business. It was a shady business. It was a business that really like, it's a business where people prey on emotion. Feels a lot like all the movies you've seen of salespeople in a sales pit. It felt like
Boiler Room.
Felt like that. Yeah, we had gongs and we had the noises and we had the. If you got 3 locks by 3 o'clock, you pull the Vegas light, and that means everybody gets to go home. I mean, we had all that.
And put the coffee.
They would have a Ferrari come to the front of the building.
Oh, how funny!
To be delivered to the CEO, which was just like showing everybody, this is one day you could have this kind of thing. So, I think that part I didn't like, and that's actually why I ended up leaving that business.
It's interesting. That type of business always use those type of tactics to kind of to rah everybody, because, you know, it is hard to deal with rejection. Yeah. And especially sheer numbers of volume of rejection, right? And yet you already had 4 years of, you know, face-to-face type of thing. How did you even have the aptitude of just saying, that's okay? You know, water off my back, let's move on. Most people couldn't deal with that. Do you recall how you were kind of got better and better and better dealing with, you know, those type of rejection, no's?
I think it's just like anything. It's your cheeks in the seat and like getting reps in. How do you get good at anything? You just got to get reps in. You know, the first time somebody tells you no, it hurts. But the 100th time, you don't even feel it. By the 1,000th time, it doesn't even sound like anything to you. You have no feeling for it. So I think, you know, before I did the corporate world, I was selling women's shoes. I was, you know, working in the team room at a sporting goods store. I was at a place where I was constantly selling something and hearing no. And so then that was just a rapid ascension of no. That single person kiosk was a lot of people saying no. And it was a lot of people like, I would have these moments of people would come up to me with like a pair of socks and ask me how much they were. They're at Walmart, like they're there for every reason except to get a cell phone.
Right. That's funny.
Sometimes I would just make up prices.
Just to be amused.
Just a punk kid, just a punk kid, So I think I learned, I think both from sports and from work that, you know, as Kobe Bryant said, you know, failure is only final if you give up.
Yes, I believe that 100%.
So I was just going to get my reps in. And so you lose a lot in sports. You lose a lot more than you win. Yeah. You miss a lot more shots than you make. Yeah. And then you go into business, and if you can put yourself in a situation, I really believe that going into sales is the best training for anyone in any business in any facet. I think every person in business should go work a sales job.
Oh, interesting.
If you're going to be an engineer, go work a sales job. Yeah. It'll create an understanding that a separation for your identity, between your performance, you know, winning and losing. Right. Your identity isn't tied to those things. Right. And so you focus on I always said in sales, the reason that I'm maybe better than somebody who's sitting next to me is because my attitude just does this. whether I'm high or whether I'm low on sales, because most people get the big sale and then they're feeling great, which means they sell more.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow. And then they hit that low and they're feeling bad for themselves. So they stay in that slump and they're down there for longer.
Yeah.
And I would just come in and it was the same activity every day. You get like 10 wins that day. It doesn't matter. Same attitude the next day. 10 losses. So it's that even keel attitude, which is really just saying, focus on the process, not the results.
That's interesting. And you got that, of course, of your sports background and then parlaying that, flowing over. And I agree with you. I think sales is something that most people should experience at least 6 months of their life.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it does, it teaches empathy, number one. And then, of course, it teaches you thinking on your feet.
Yep.
Thinking on your feet is probably one of the biggest things that I find a lot of people who's in business, coworkers that I've had, that just can't deal with pressure or due dates, or I just can't do all this by myself,
Right.
And I think in sales, it just doesn't matter.
No.
And that's interesting you bring that up to it. So go ahead and tell us that now you're in this boiler room environment and you're dangling the carrot. Hey, you can be like this, you can be like this.
Yeah.
And at what point you just went, you know what? Now I've reached my point with that.
It was once I realized that the motivation was purely monetary and that it was being done in a way that didn't have integrity behind it.
Okay.
And so, there was a farce on the front of it to say like, oh, we'll shop your business to a bunch of places and get you the best options, and then you'll make the choice on those best options. But the reality was I had my own rate sheets. They paid me different amounts, and I got to structure it exactly how I wanted to.
Right.
And then you would pick the thing that I wanted you to pick, which I thought, oh, isn't this just how all loans are done? And then once I was in the business for 9 months, I realized, oh, no, that's actually not how it's done. That's just this place. So then I got out and went to basically a different loan place where none of that existed. And it really was just smiling and dialing and giving people the best option. So, yeah, I think even so, I was still at that point just chasing, chasing money.
Sure.
Really, right? Because again, growing up, at that point, I definitely realized, oh, I didn't have a lot growing up.
Because you're seeing more people, more diverse.
Yeah, and I've got a chip on my shoulder now, so let me make sure that I can prove that,
Wow, that's
I'm
interesting.
worth something. Yeah.
Yeah. But, as a kid, and of course, your mother's doing everything to provide for you. You had a nice house, you're going to a nice school, living in a nice community, but then it's always what's with the Smith, what's with the Joneses.
That's right.
Especially when you get into, I think, out of the teenage years. And you start just, assert your independence. Having been in the workforce now, 6 years?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that opened a lot of eyes about that. And you're a risk taker. That's one thing I've noticed about you, that you reach a place and you're going, okay, complacent, or let's do something a little bit more. Add some fire to the mix.
Yeah, I it's funny you say that because I've always thought I'm not enough of a risk taker.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm actually a risk mitigator. I am constantly managing risk to have the least amount of risk possible. But it's weird. It's like I'll take a risk, but it's a very calculated risk. Very, very calculated. I've calculated it all the way down to its bottom edge, and I've got the 3, 4, 5, and 6 backup plan.
Okay, so you're methodical.
Yes, very. And so it's kind of like why I liked chess or why I liked the way things work, because it's about, okay, I'll take this problem apart and then we'll put it back together to make sure that this thing is, it's a risk. There's risk that's being taken, but it's extremely calculated.
Right.
And I mean, I knew that you had to take risk in order to succeed, quote, from the world's perspective, and grow in your career. But at the end of the day, what I knew more than that was you had to be good.
Yes.
That's really what it takes. You have to be good. And then you have to be, it's different if you want to be a great individual performer. Totally different than if you want to be a great leader that people want to follow.
Yes.
That's just a different animal, and it's a different.
That's beyond just being good.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a different animal.
Yeah. You have to have a different motivation.
Yes.
You can be, and I know that there's no right or wrong there. It's just a matter of, you have to put the destination in the GPS for your career.
Yeah.
And then start going after it,
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. People don't really maybe either put the GPS destination in, or they just kind of float, or they just handle tomorrow and see what comes next.
Right.
And I'm definitely not a handle tomorrow and see what comes next. I like to plan.
Sure. And that's interesting because, I recently did the podcast about building systems, and I truly believe if you want to be great at something, you have to develop a frame, a structure, and a system to develop it. If you just aimlessly going out there, you're hit and missing.
Yep.
And you could be wasting a lot of energy, a lot of time, and only move 2 feet.
That's right.
And that's just not what refinement or greatness is about. So give me your idea and your point of view about what being good is.
Being good in what sense?
Well, in the sense, like, you were saying at the point of now you're having the money being the driver, but to be successful at that, you have to be good.
Yeah.
So what was good at that point in your 20s?
So for me, it was performing as an individual. So proof of concept.
Okay.
That you were not just that you're not just an armchair, your Monday morning quarterback, right?
Okay.
You're not a couch coach, but that you've done it. You've been in the trenches, and not only have you been in the trenches, but you've done well. So I always wanted to prove, okay, in the seat, I can crack a home run, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, for me, good was having a heart for what other people want and understanding what it is that they want, and then working toward that. So your GPS destination is no longer what you want. Your GPS destination is figuring out, where does Jeff want to go? Because everyone has completely different motivations and reasons and desires in different seasons of their life. And if you can tap into what season they're in and help them to get there, that's when people want to follow you. That's when people want to be a part of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how is it to set that boundary without it being overachieving? And I'll give you an example. Michael Jordan's a great ball player. We can all attest and believe in that. But we can pretty much say that Michael Jordan probably would not have been a great coach.
Right.
Right? And why is that? Because he believes everybody should be equally intense, equally hardcore on the level of commitment, passion, and effort.
Yeah.
So with that, how do you gauge yourself of, okay, I want to be a successful leader, especially at such a young age in your 20s? To me, 20s, you're still developing, searching yourself a lot of times.
Yeah.
So to be able to have the aptitude and thought about those, I want to be a team leader, I want to run successful business from that point, I mean, that's extremely mature of you.
I think it was mature, but it goes back to the risk mitigation. And so I knew individual performer, I can make a bunch of money, but I also knew that some months I could make a lot of money and then other months I could make no money.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Sure.
And I always wanted to and knew I wanted to start a family and be a great husband and provide well. And to do that, I decided that it was going to be less risk, right? To get into leadership, create the stability of a salary, the stability of those things that are consistent and predictable.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably like the biggest reason why, I didn't start my own business when I was young, right? And it took me until now, right, to cross that bridge.
Yep.
Because what I wanted to do was establish all of the stability first, and now I'll take the risk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I see that.
So I think, I don't know that it was like a maturity of, hey, I knew that I loved leading people. I loved being, like captain on teams and things like that. But I also knew that meant that I could create some stability over time.
And you got married relatively in your 20s?
Yep.
So that I would consider that to be pretty normal.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
25. Yep.
Okay, so that's normal. And that to me was a goal you set, a vision you had. So how important is it to, you would say, success
in the sense of knowing the priorities of what you want,
Yeah.
opposed to chasing the mighty dollar.
Yeah. I mean, that, again, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Yeah.
And so understanding what your priorities are allows you to actually work toward them, but you have to identify them first.
Yeah.
It's like kind of basic goal setting. And that's, a big part of the inspiration for what's in the operating system. It's a big 3 goals.
Yeah.
Set your big 3 goals and now go relentlessly work toward them.
Yeah.
And so, understanding what your priorities are, from kind of an ethereal perspective is really good. And then understanding at a practical level is really good. So, starting with, okay, my priorities are my faith, my walk with the Lord, and then my wife, and then my kids, and then my family and friends, and then my job.
Okay. So
And so then you go, okay, well, now let me do an audit of my life.
Yeah.
Does the way I spend my time, my talent, and my treasure reflect that?
Yeah.
Or is it more likely that there's a different order there? So, but setting that and saying that, it's I've found it, it's just really important once you verbalize it, vocalize it, write it down, that you can actually work toward it, or have some people around you hold you accountable as well.
Sure. Okay. So I would like to talk a little bit into where your decision making, and also based off of what you brought up, the faith, your faith.
Yeah.
You're religious.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk a little bit about how old were you? Were you like a little kid going to church, and this is how you grew up, or one day you had an epiphany? What happened?
Yeah. I mean, as I was little, as I said, I was very curious. So, I remember asking my mom, like, why are we here? From a
Sure.
very young age.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know, I don't have an answer for that question.
That's a bad mother answer, because I got the same thing.
Right? But I think, no, I mean, I grew up an atheist, agnostic, and then atheist.
Yeah.
I remember there's kids in high school that I would just tear down as much as I could, especially the Christian kids.
Really?
Yeah. And then,
you remember why you did that? Or is it just because?
I mean, if I had to put myself on a couch and get deeply psychological, it's because I had, an absentee father wound. And so I had anger toward the world, and that anger toward the world meant anger toward, anything kind of good. It was what it was what I decided to use as a fuel for my rebellion.
I see.
Right?
Yes.
But I think, somebody invited me to church just before my 18th birthday. And as I had been studying just before that, I'd been studying string theory and quantum mechanics and things like that. And I started to get down to these really fundamental truths, which were really hard for me to reconcile, which is, as you break matter down, it's infinitely divisible, because what's after that, and what's after that, and what's after that. And then as you look up and out into the expanse, what's after that, and what's after that. So then it's reasonable that likely we're looking at an infinite existence of matter, which would reflect something has to stand outside of that for it to even exist.
Yes.
And so then somebody invited me to their church service. I went and I sat in the back and I heard the gospel, and I was just sitting by myself, and I wept, and I said, all right, Jesus, I'll follow you. I don't know what I'm doing, but here I am. And then my life changed overnight. No, it didn't. But, over the course of the next, 6 years, probably, I started to really give the same energy to my faith as I would other things, and start to consider the claims of the Bible, and consider the evidence, and consider things. I put everything through the same scientific process, right?
Right.
So I mean, that became the North Star for me from just before 18 on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when you were in the so-called the home loan business and the shenanigans, you kind of saw that it really counterproductive to your inner self and your heart.
That's right. I knew it was right. No, my heart was like, make more money.
Sure, I get that, because we all want more.
That's money. Right. Yeah, I didn't. The concept of me being a sinner saved by grace was very easy for me to understand. Right. it's not a hard concept if you just start with, you could take a basic rundown of the 10 Commandments, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever lied? Yes. Okay, great. Like, I don't even have to go down the list. We're done,
Yes.
right? And so, the Bible would say, like, if you've sinned in one, then you've trespassed on all. And so we all need to be saved, right? We're sinners saved by grace. So that concept was easy for me. I knew the desires of my heart. The Word of God also says the heart is deceitful above all things, and that's why it's so counterproductive in the world, where it's like, follow your heart. No, don't follow your heart. Your heart is going to tell you to do some really crazy things.
Yeah.
Obviously, people mean something different when they say that, right? They kind of want to say, like, your passion, the things that you really care about.
Yes.
But as a fallen people, a lot of times our passions are, if you get down to it, they're not great, and we want to be recognized, and we want fame and fortune and money and power and all these things. So being in that business for sure was like, I'm not sure, but at that point I still hadn't spent the same amount of time that I would eventually spend, like, really digging into the Word, really, having a regular relationship, reading the Word of God in prayer. And then, it was like, what I knew for sure is I wasn't going to do this thing where it was just like, go to church on Sunday and then, be a Christian on Sunday and then do whatever you want the rest of the week. I couldn't do it. So I had to get my hands all the way into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, of course. I think if not, you're just being a token of, and other than that particular day, I can do whatever I want. Then ask for forgiveness.
That's right. Yeah, grace.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I had a struggle looking at that and saying, how can I ever buy into that? Because I see it. Right.
And that's like a great joke that a pastor that we used to go to church used to say. He goes, hey, people say the church is full of hypocrites. And I say, no, it's not. There's an empty seat right there and an empty seat right there. Meaning, of course, and this comes back to the whole concept of understanding. Yeah. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's having a right view of yourself. And so, understanding that if there is a creator that stands outside of time that is perfect, well, then perfection is the standard. And if we're not perfect, okay, great. That chasm is there now. And Paul even talks about it in the New Testament, where he says, should grace abound? Should you sin all the more so grace should abound? Like, well, no, that's not what we're saying here.
Right.
It's like you'll know a tree by its fruits.
Yeah.
And the fruit, a good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. So, reconciling that this isn't a call to be good enough. This isn't like, okay, if I walk 12 old ladies across the street, I've worked my way into heaven. It's not a ladder. This isn't a work your way up into the goodness system.
Right.
It's we're all, sinners saved by grace. Great. Like there's no, well, I gave all my money away and I did all these good things. Have I earned my way into heaven? Like, that's just, So that was easy for me to understand, I think, once I essentially just got past the biggest question, which was like, is there a creator?
Yeah.
That was, once you're past that.
Right.
I actually think it's funnier when people are like, yeah, but the Bible hasn't the translation. I'm like, all right, so we've gotten over the hump that you believe that there's a creator. Okay. An infinite creator who created matter from nothing, but probably couldn't handle making sure that their words were handled well over 1,000 years. Like, a virgin birth, that would probably be a little harder. Yeah. Like, hold on, once you get past stage one, the other stuff is easier. It's, not easier, it's reasonable.
You can digest it.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
I get that, yeah.
So I brought I had my, my faith was and is, an important, the most important aspect of business for me, because at the end of the day, all of what I do is a gift. My time, my talent, my treasure, the breath I have in my lungs, the brain that I'm using right now, none of it's because of me. I don't charge myself up at night. and wake up in the morning with energy. I happen to be built to be able to do that wireless. That's pretty cool.
Right.
That's not my credit. I put 2 feet on the ground this morning and took a breath.
Yes.
That's not my credit, but we are stewards. We're stewards of those resources. So how can we use them for good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gratitude, I think, is huge. A huge part of, being at peace when you understand it, right? So with this being now coming into, late teens into 20s, you got a nice, a career building. So of course now marriage, family came in. This is all by plan, by design. So what happened then? Kids? Where do you move on from there, right?
Yeah. So, Jen and I met just after I had given my life to the Lord.
Yeah.
And that was December 2nd of 2000. And we were together. We've been together ever since. So
Fantastic.
we were together for, 7 years before we got married.
Yeah.
And then, had kiddos. We have 3 kids. So now they're 15, 13, and 11.
Yeah.
And we decided we were going to homeschool them their whole life. So, they're homeschooled. And you said it. It's gratitude. I genuinely am just grateful every day that I wake up.
Well, like you gave your life to Christ, and all of a sudden, here's the gift for you. And here's everything you ever dreamed and want, and start developing, so forth. So, and it should have been hunky-dory, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's like, your life is going to be perfect overnight, and it's not. No, we had a bunch of peaks and valleys through our life together. Losses of jobs and changing of where we lived, and friendships that came and went, and I think a lot of people misunderstand what Jesus came to bring, and that's not peace in the world, but it's peace in your heart.
Amen.
And that's what Paul talks about, right?
Yeah.
It's like, when he says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, he's talking about contentment.
Okay.
The context of that is him going like, I've had a lot and I've had nothing. In all things, I've learned to be content.
Right.
And so I think that life lesson of us, for the period of time being together now 25 years is just understanding that my favor with God is not the money I have or the job I have or the things that I do are not a reflection of the favor I have with God. I am favored by God, period. Because
we're at a half hour?
Yep, I got you. I'm favored by God because he loves us first, not because of what I did. And therefore, when you look in the Bible and you look at stories of Job or anybody else, it bugs me. It bugs me when people are like, oh, wow, whatever, you're a CEO and you have this or you have that. Wow, you're really favored by God. I'm like, no, because if tomorrow all of this were gone, I would feel no different about his love for me.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be different.
Right.
These are just things. They're just,
right.
They're not an indication of anything. That doesn't mean that I can't be a good steward of them, and I shouldn't be. It doesn't mean that I can't, so it's just a matter of using those things for good. So I think that's a big lesson you learn through that, again, kind of appetite for failure and success. You just sort of develop a level of apathy to failure and success. Worldly failure and success.
Yeah.
Because I have success in Christ.
Yes.
That's rooted, written into infinity.
Yeah.
So, if I'm a CEO today and a janitor tomorrow, that doesn't change.
Yeah. So all this experience that builds up, at what age when you finally says, okay, I've done enough. Now it's time to build my own.
It was as I made the shift out of, coming from being the president of an automotive suspension company.
Yeah.
I was already kind of desiring more godly wisdom. And so I joined a group called C12 where Christian business leaders meet once a month to talk about how they can lead their business as a ministry. Local leaders here, just 12 people, and that started to really change my mind because they talked about this concept of business as a ministry, that your business and leading a great business is your ministry, and that you don't have to go be a pastor or work, right? That is the work that you can do, or that you might.
Well done. You've done something that most people only ever dream about. You've started and kept a business alive, and that's a huge achievement and one you should be proud of. Now, I want to help you make that business unbreakable. My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. And what I've learned is building an unbreakable business often requires similar ingredients: clear financial insights, well-built systems, streamlined growth strategies, and optimized operations. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.
The loan business, and you got a family, you're raising kids.
Yep.
Things change in life.
Yep.
You're having some
Suspension
adversities.
business, and then I was in the. Then we talked about making the change to Shermer portfolios, and then I started my own business.
C12.
Yep, C12. C12 changed my whole life.
I can only imagine that was the biggest.
It was.
Yeah, the fork in the road.
It was.
Right.
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge, and it was
Yeah.
it was mind blowing, and it was exactly what was needed.
Because when we initially talked about your involvement in C12, you described it to me so passionately.
Yeah.
It was just like this was meant to be.
It was.
And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I've never met and heard anything about this organization or this type of business involvement with Christ.
Yeah.
So this was fresh to me.
Yeah.
And
it was fresh to me. I had been invested. I had done a bunch of other things like that. And I didn't even know it existed. I was so blown away.
Sure. Yes.
There was this level of care toward Christian CEOs and leaderships to help them, to help disciple and steward them to run good businesses. So it wasn't just a Bible study. It was like, well, how do we take the wisdom of the Bible and apply it to run great businesses?
Yes.
And that was like, that's what I want to do.
Right. And then giving back.
Yes.
The level of giving back isn't like here's 5% to give something here. Here's an annual thing for you.
Well, and I think that also is like, God doesn't need our money. And I heard somebody put it really well, which was, it's not about how much money you're going to give God. It's how much are you going to keep for yourself? Because it's all his.
Yes. Interesting.
Just to flip a perspective, right? Like, I'm a steward.
Yeah.
I have this not because of me, but because of the gifts that he's given me. Therefore, now I'm a steward of this. What am I going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Am I going to help a single mom? Am I going to provide for my family? Am I going to whatever, give to my local parents, whatever? So I think, that's like just a good heart check.
Yes.
Right? That's all it is. It's like proof in the pudding.
I can see that, yes.
Right? Like, you say you care about this, but, there's like an old illustration where it's not even an illustration of what would happen in sort of the medieval times, where soldiers would be baptized and they would hold their swords out of the water because they say, like, you can have everything, God, but this I'm about to go to war with. Right. So I'll take care of this. And they say the modern day equivalent for us is our wallets.
Interesting.
God, you can have everything. Yeah. But this, I'll take care of this.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take care of this.
So also in your career, because you were in the money business.
Yep.
And the financial institution. I mean, how did it give you a different perception when you saw this opportunity with C12 because you had that, or did it not matter? I mean, did anything in the financial institution taint your point of view toward money?
Yeah, it did. I think because I realized that when you work in a corporate world and in finance, you're just a cog in the wheel. I had sort of that, and everybody was only about money, status, power, like, just keep moving up and buying more things and doing more things. I definitely had an aversion to it, but I also felt like the only way I could put it was I'd spent 4 years this company grew like crazy, and I felt like it was easy.
Oh, interesting.
And so there was a part of me that was like, there's a parable of the talents in the book of Matthew where, a master gives a talent of gold.
Yes.
And these talents of gold were worth a lot of money, like $250,000, $300,000 in today's modern economy. So these aren't like just little tiny shekels. And they each do something different with them. They, invest, and one brings double and one brings 5. And the other one says, I was afraid of you. I was afraid you were a harsh master, so I buried it. And here's your talent back. And he says, you wicked and slothful servant, right? Like, and so a big part of me felt like, am I burying my talents? Because I actually spent all of these years in the financial world, and I have this skill, and I'm not using it per se. And this period that I'm in feels easy to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then when this came, it was like this beautiful combination of one being back in the financial services realm, but also, the Bible's a book of redemption and restoration. And so this was like God's plan to redeem even the financial industry for me.
Right.
And give me an opportunity to use that talent for good.
Yes. Yeah. There's no accidents.
No.
Everything is by design too.
Yes.
And I know that even though that, and this is of course my opinion, I always felt that financial institution, money-based businesses like that tend to be just so, not so spiritual, more dark, because it's so driven in the third density material world to be the focus, especially not just material. This is money. This is what everybody strives for. And then, of course, the public is, if I don't have this, I don't eat, I don't have house. Sure. So there's that fear factor. So it doesn't always lend itself to be inspirational.
No, and one of the most frequently misquoted verses in the Bible is that, money is the root of all evil. But that's not the verse. It's that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Yes.
So it's not money. Money's just a store of value.
Yes.
It's your love for it. And so, that's why Christ's words are like, you can't serve God and money.
Right.
You'll either love one and despise the other, or you'll be dedicated to one and hate the other. Like you can't serve both of these things. The same thing, like it's easier for, a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. And that should be a warning to all of us, because anybody who lives in the U.S. is rich.
Yeah.
From a world perspective. So it's just that it does something to us. And so developing that apathy to where you have it, you don't have it, it makes no difference to me.
Right.
But, easy to say and hard to apply.
Yeah. Well, now you've lived through it. Yeah. And you now have created and become your own. You're even more successful than you were when you were considered successful then.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And at that point of being successful, would you ever imagined that this is even much grander, much greater?
No. Yeah. No, I think, I definitely never thought that we would have, I guess I didn't really think about it, but, I would never have told you that, this is the kind of material success that we would have. But that's also, it's true of my older self. My younger self was like, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
Sure.
I think age, experience, perspective is a superpower. If you have perspective, this is all of life. Once you gain perspective on things, all of a sudden everything shifts. Like our whole world exists between our ears.
Yeah.
So if you shift just the shift of a perspective about something, it's like the money piece, right? It's like it's not what you're going to give to God; it's how much you're going to keep to yourself. That's just a perspective shift.
Yeah.
But it can change the way you act.
Sure.
So, I think my context or relationship with material success is completely changed. I just don't. It doesn't bother me.
Sure.
If you have no feelings about it.
Yeah.
It's there and it's not there.
Yeah. It's not nearly important as the top tiers, my
No.
faith, my family.
That's right.
and my-
It's just something. It's an outcome, and I'm not in the outcome business.
Yeah.
I'm in the process business. So God's word says that we plant and we water, but only God gives the growth.
Yeah.
Sometimes a rose grows out of concrete.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes you put all the right things and the crop just doesn't grow.
Yeah.
So, but our job is to plant and to water, and that's really just committing yourself to stewarding what you have day by day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're in Kingdom Mindset Strategy. This is your baby.
Yeah.
And you're the CEO.
Yeah.
Tell us just a little bit about the inception of how did you start to build this when you made the decision, let's go this way.
Yeah. So initially it started with what's on your hat, which is Kingdom Mindset Investing.
Yes.
That's the parent company. And the idea there was I'd gone to a conference in the financial world, one of the first conferences I went to, and it was called the Kingdom Advisor Conference. And there it was all certified Kingdom advisors, people who had gone through biblical training for giving financial advice.
Wow.
I didn't even know this existed.
No kidding.
This is crazy.
Right.
And I thought it was so cool. And then there were some pieces of it that I thought, oh man, there would be a really good process here to figure out a different way to help people reconcile how they invest with their values. And so that's really what Kingdom Mindset Investing became. And it was, how do I connect people with businesses, whether it's financial advisors or other businesses that are committed to biblical values and biblical stewardship. And so that started there. And then I was asked to speak at a conference for C12 to talk about marketing, guerrilla marketing, and kind of what I had done at the suspension company.
Yes.
And I knew, I told Jen, I'm like, I feel like this is something, God's using this for something, and I feel like it's going to be really important. And so I had somebody else approach me and ask me if I would fractionally consult for them. And I was like, I don't do that. I'm a CEO. And the timing just so happened to work out. And so that actually is what kicked off the consulting side of things. So I started consulting businesses fractionally. And then I spoke at that conference. And then after speaking at that conference, I had a bunch of people asking me like, hey, can you help us? And I said, well, I can't, no, and I don't have anything to sell you. And what I started to see and understand in the pattern was that there was a need for people to apply the framework and methodology that I had applied at the businesses that I had been at.
Yeah.
And then one day I was sitting at our house that we're in now and sitting at the fireplace, and I told Jen, I go, I've got this idea. I just need to write. And so I took the laptop out, and I must have sat there for 4 or 6 hours, just writing what would eventually become Unbreakable OS, the Unbreakable operating system.
And give us just like a brief overview of that so the audience can understand where you went with this.
Yeah, so what I had seen in my C12 group, because it was a group of small business owners, and encouraging them and being in that group for 2 years, and then what I had seen in the consulting, and then what I had seen also from the feedback in the folks who came to me after the conference, and then what I had seen in the businesses that I had led, was that most businesses and founders and CEOs were building cages for themselves where they grew in perfect symmetry. So as their business grew, their involvement grew in the exact same direction.
Okay.
So as the business got bigger, they were more involved, more emails, more calls. Essentially, they were building a cage that if they were not in it, then that business couldn't survive.
Yes.
And I had built everything in my career to become dispensable.
Okay.
Where real stewardship was understanding that those things should move in opposite directions, that you should be able to build something that can grow while your involvement moves down. And so the Unbreakable Operating System is a framework of 7 laws that teaches people how to build a great business from, sort of top to bottom on the things that the tenets and the laws that I developed around financial discipline, marketing, people management, vision, systems, scaling, execution and velocity of decision making. And so that's really what Unbreakable OS is. It is teaching business owners how to build an engine and not a cage.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when someone says, "Hey, Adam, I'm really interested in, I heard what you said, but I'm not a religious guy. So how can you help?"
Yeah, those are some of my favorite conversations. Because I was an atheist, right? So
Yes.
I really enjoy talking to people who don't think the way I think.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
On the business side of things, that's a really easy conversation because the operating system is rooted in biblical wisdom, but no matter what you believe, if you apply the logic and the framework of the operating system, you'll run a great business. And then my hope is from that, you'll go, maybe we should consider the claims of where this came from.
Right.
And that would be a reflection and point to a more meaningful truth than just building a business to make money.
Yes. And if somebody just came in and says, "You know what, I just love money. I want more money."
Yeah.
Is that something that you would say, "Okay, well, I can work with that," or is that something, "No, sorry, this isn't about that"?
So for me personally, I do a very small private group of 7 CEOs that I advise and coach. And those are only Christian CEOs, because my passion is to have believing CEOs who see their business as a ministry used in ways that an excellent business can reflect, Jesus, right? In how it operates in a great way. Unbreakable OS, anybody can use it. So the idea really is that anyone and everyone from a solopreneur to a large business can apply those principles. They'll make more money and build a great business and have a loyal people group, and they'll run high quality financials, and they'll be scalable and saleable and all of those things. So it really is a holistic operating system to build a great business.
Yeah.
And great businesses are profitable.
Okay. And is this a subscription to you?
Yeah. So the software is coming out in about 4 weeks.
Wow.
So
exciting.
Yeah, $10 a month.
Okay.
$10 a month a user, and you can apply the first aspect of it, which is the execution engine. That's for helping people essentially set their big 3 goals, run decision pitch cycles, meetings, and sort of track execution along the way.
Right.
But applying the actual full operating system will come a little bit later.
Okay.
I am almost done with the book, which is called The Dispensable CEO.
Right.
And that will be running through the 7 laws of the Unbreakable operating system for people to use.
Yeah. This is like your Dao Jukundo, isn't it?
Yeah, for business.
Yes.
Yeah, for business. That's exactly right.
Yeah, because I see the refinement that how you're thinking and how you put this together, and I liked how you have this mindset of help, but not oversaturate. You're not going to want to be, "Hey, I'm the McDonald's of this."
No. No, and this isn't like how to 10x your business, because if there's a bunch of people that you can go follow who want to show you how to go make a quick buck.
Yeah.
And most of them aren't getting it right because easily gained, easily lost.
Yes.
So you just got to.
So true about that statement.
Yeah, you just got to put in the work, right?
Yeah.
It's like no one saw Phelps in the pool every day for 5 years straight.
No doubt.
Right. But then when he got into a race and his goggles filled up with water, he did the entire race without seeing anything, because he had done that race so many times. He completely had it visually memorized. He knew exactly how many strokes. He knew when his turn happened. He knew all of it, right? Because the repetitions were in there. So most people just don't want to put in the work, right? It's the same reason why we want to get rich quick. We want to lose weight quick. We want figure out how to be a CEO quick.
Yeah.
It's like Novocaine. Just give it time.
That's interesting that you bring that up like that, because, there's so much adulations to where these people, they put on pedestals into the iconic status, and because they could do and achieve these great things. But out of every one of those guys, they will tell you, it's dedication, it's perseverance, it's repetition, it's focus, it's intent. You're the guy who's 4 a.m. going to the gym.
Yep.
You're not the guy who's coming from a nightclub at 4 a.m.
Yep.
So if everybody already know that's the blueprint, why is so many people failing at this?
Because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Okay, share that.
We're not short on knowledge right now. You have unlimited access to information.
Yeah, you're right.
Knowledge has never been the problem,
Okay.
right? Like, if I were to tell somebody, if I were to ask somebody, how can I lose weight? They have an answer.
Yes.
They already know how.
Right.
They just want a quicker answer.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to apply the knowledge with wisdom to go, oh, okay, if you eat less and if you exercise over time, then you will lose weight. It's like, well, but what about like before summer? Right?
Yeah.
Or, somebody wants to be a great drummer. It's like, okay, well, have you done your rotes for 6 hours, 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
If you want to freestyle and jam,
Right.
you better have your rotes down for 10 years.
Right.
Then you can go sit in any room you want.
Right.
You're like, well, I don't want to do that. Can't I just like hop in here and be great?
Yeah.
But greatness is small. Greatness is small. I think people think greatness is big, but greatness is small, and it always will be. And that's what separates. That's why it's the very small percentage of people who achieve these crazy things.
Right.
Because it's small.
That's interesting. And we all want to be there.
Yeah, well, we say we want to,
Yeah.
but execution is the truth and intention is a rumor. You
Yeah.
can say anything you want,
Yeah.
but I can tell you that I want to get in good shape, but did I work out this morning? No, but I ate some candy. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, man, but I love Taco Bell. So you just have to also be like intellectually honest with yourself about what you actually do want.
Yeah. But, and then there's that point of, if you go down that road, then you're kind of going, well, I already gave up today. Then you start to become this self-defeating and you start to talk yourself out of the greatness. And that to me has always been the biggest enemy, is why do you decide to go down the road of complacency? Because you allow yourself to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually that's happening because people are thinking in the future or in the past. When, I don't want to get too philosophical on people, but the present is the only thing that exists.
I agree.
I think we're,
Oh,
no, it stopped again.
no, you're spot on, I think, on that.
Yeah, the present is the only thing that exists. And actually, when you look at the biblical account and he says, oh, who should I say sent me? God says, tell him I am sent you.
Right.
And I am is a reflection of infinite.
Yes.
It's not that I was, it's not that I will be, but I am, AKA I have always been, AKA matter exists infinitely in, matter exists infinitely out.
Yeah.
Infinite is just, think of it as always on, never turned on or off.
Yeah.
And so that's what today is.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew the quote off the top of my head, but C.S. Lewis has a beautiful quote. I want to say it's in the Screw Tape Letters that, the present is, the closest reflection of the infinite.
I agree.
And so rather than thinking about what you didn't do today or that you can't do it by tomorrow or that you just have to worry about right now.
Yeah. 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 I believe that the biggest shift I've personally experienced is by honoring the present and start being in the moment constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also the wanting what you have.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think the problem with is of course the society of the brainwashing of ownerships and possessions. Then of course that goes to the money.
Sure.
Then of course, how do you get money? Well, you got to work for it because you were taught that to go work for money. And if that system is their loop, constantly going back to that, then of course, ultimately, somewhere, somehow, you're going to get fatigued and go, why am I doing this?
That's right. Yeah, there's a hamster wheel at the top of Money Mountain.
Yeah. And you never got into that, or at least you got into it and went, nope, no
Yeah, I
thank you.
definitely got into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I spent most of my life, trying to chase something that I thought, whether it was a position or becoming a CEO or
Yeah.
making a certain amount of money, and then you do it and you're like,
Yeah.
right? It's like Tom Brady. He's like, I won all these championships. I'm the MVP. I thought, yeah.